Good morning to you. Welcome to Tuesday, the 22nd of June, 2021. This is Morning Barbados. I am Pearson Bowen, welcoming all of you who are also watching us on our Facebook streams at CBC Barbados and Morning Barbados. And for those of you watching on our YouTube channel, Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, wonderful as always having you company. Today is Tuesday, and today on a typical Tuesday we'll also be connecting with our real estate agent and agent Sharita. Last week we looked at some of the things you need to consider when operating a senior citizens home. Today we want to look at when you're operating a daycare center or a summer camp. Some of the things you need to pay attention to from a real estate perspective. We will also today be continuing our pandemic fitness with our guy, Mr. Califit 246 Thornwood. He'll join us to share a whole lot more about that. But let's get started with this question. What is TGAT? What is it? We're joined by the Calendars this morning, who are the producers of the upcoming series TGAT. They are Tashida and Kevin Calendar. Good morning, both of you. Welcome.
Good morning, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank both of you for waking up early. I know it's a bit of a struggle for one person in particular, him. But, you know, we are here.
Yes, I try to get her up early, but, you know, sometimes that doesn't always work out very well.
Listen, Father, forgive them both. Now, so TGAT. The question is, what is TGAT?
What is TGAT? TGAT is the acronym, and we always end up using acronyms for lots of our projects, but it is what TGAT stands for. And Tashida will explain that it's a culturally, I mean, she says it so eloquently that it's a culturally
educational entertainment series. And in saying that, we just mean that we focus on music, our heritage, and be able to wrap that into one beautiful package and showcase it to Barbados and the wider world. So not just locally, but regionally and internationally as well.
And it's so important because sometimes we lose sight. We see individual performances, and then because it's so scattered, we don't get the whole picture. And so the gospel, according to TGAT, is going to be the series that I suppose that would allow us in a wholesome way to focus in on the different genres, the different musical expressions, so that we begin to see the scope of what we have to offer.
You captured it. You captured it quite nicely. So it's not. So while the name says the gospel according to, it is not. People that will hear it may think that it's a gospel show. It's a religious show. No, the gospel just refers holistically as the good news or the truth. You know, so we have the gospel according to soca, the gospel according to jazz, the gospel according to different genres. So as the genre changes, the venue changes, the vibe changes, everything changes, and we bring you a bit of history, we bring you a bit of culture, we bring you different artists and musicians, instrumentalists about Barbados, some who may be prominent, some who you may not. Who may be undiscovered, some who we may have forgotten, and just bring those and allow them a platform to shine again, or to continue shining, you know, and as Tashida mentioned, not just on a Barbados platform, but on regional and maybe even international landscapes.
So the gospel is the good news, according to you, Tashida, and so we are discovering the good news of what exists. Can you tell me a little bit about what you have been able to discover while you are putting together the TGAT series?
Well, it's pretty interesting actually. So the first one is going to be the gospel according to Orchestra, and we're going to filming that in a few weeks. And for that, we're going to have the Royal Barbados Police Force Band
in all their splendor.
Yeah, and they're going to accompany the mighty Gabby.
You have to call the name.
Sorry,
right. I like to call the full name.
Dr. the Honorable the mighty Gabby Carter, and he's going to be joined by two other artists, which will be Daddy and Jamal Slope and Jay Slope. And one thing that is really important about this one is that we're going to be using the venue at Farley Hill. And as Kevin mentioned before, every time we do a different genre, the location changes, which means that the history behind that episode and that genre also changes. So what we've been able to do is to dig into the history of Farley Hill and pretty much bring Barbadians and people who appreciate heritage tourism into the culture of all that we have to offer, and let them know the different things about our history and Farley Hill as a venue, and so on. There pretty much interesting things behind those mahogany trees that you would never even imagine.
Yeah, stuff that we learned even by a simple site visit. So there's a lot that has gone into it so far. And even Tashida is talking about the history and the culture of it, but even from the entertainment and the performance side, the musical side of it, we are just imagine taking some traditional songs that that you're accustomed to hearing, and putting an orchestral spin on it.
Wow.
Just taking music that you may ordinarily just groove to, and
Yes.
having the police force band take that and strip it all the way down, and bring you some bassoons and some clarinets in there and some timpanis,
Yes.
just give you an entire orchestral, almost classical performance.
There is nothing to my ear like the sound of the violin or the flute. And to be able to fuse those instruments as well into these performances, I think is going to be fantastic. And Tashida, you're right. There's a lot that the trees can tell us. We would have done a series here on CBC that talked about the silent sentinels. So many people would have wrapped their life story around those trees. And to be able to live that out yet again in that iconic location of Farley Hill, itself being featured in films, is, to my mind, a very stately way to start. And you're starting with classical, you're bringing out the best of Barbados to start with. It's going to be resounding, I believe, it's a series.
Yes.
It doesn't end there, it just begins there. So in what other ways would it roll out?
So
Second one,
we can't let too much out of the bag as yet, but let's just say that we have earmarked the other 3 episodes, because we have a 4-part planned for your virtual environments. But we do have the other 3, which would be the gospel according to jazz, the gospel according to soca, and the gospel according to 316, because we want to have a gospel one, but obviously it's kind of redundant to say the gospel according to gospel. so the 316 is a reference to John 3:16.
John 3:16, for God so
There
loved
you
the
go.
world.
So,
Yes.
and we have, I mean, we've spoken to all of our artists, we've spoken to all of our musicians, all service providers. So all that we need right now, Pearson, is you.
Well,
We just need you.
the yous, all of these
The
yous
you.
who are watching you this morning will definitely be a part of it for sure. But this is a tremendous undertaking. Talk to me a little bit about the vision, the dream, the passion behind pulling together the TGAT series.
Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
you can go ahead. I'm breathing heavily because it means so much to me individually. And even before we came on, I was saying to Kevin, I can't believe we're actually able to share this to Barbados.
Yes,
We've
for
been
the
talking
very
about
first
this for
time.
so many nights, working hard on it, talking to all of our partners, whether it would be just through endorsements, whether investors, and so on. So I'll let Kevin go because I feel a little too passionate about it.
So TGAT started actually on Christmas Eve 2020, yes. Christmas Eve, I just took a walk just down the street, and I sat on a wall, and I thought, I'd like to have an event where just a small intimate thing, no more than 200 persons, just to have different genres of music happening, and little canapes, cocktails. It's very small, very, very exclusive and intimate. And then a week later, we were thrown right into an entire lockdown,
Yes.
which kind of forced us to be like, okay, what's happening? Why is this happening? What do we do right now? And then in that time, Tashida and I had multiple conversations where we decided, you know what? Let's capitalize on the fact that we can't go out. Let's capitalize on the fact that we can't have people gathering, and just use the virtual environment to launch TGAT, to start it. And that's how this all came about. So we never stopped planning. We never let money be used as a hindrance, or the lack thereof. We never let the lack of being able to go outside be used as a hindrance. We just always planned it as though it was going to happen, whether next month, 2 months later. And right now, I mean, after speaking to a lot of our partners, now everybody is jumped on. I mean, I have to say a special good morning to Merville, who has been really there with us. Merville Lynch, he's been really there with us as far like he is as excited about it as we are, because I
Yes.
mean, just taking it from our heads or from his head and putting it into a camera and producing that, he is very ready to make it happen, you know. And then the police band, they have been, so far they have been amazing. They have
Hmm.
been amazing. And I also want to mention here, Pearson, I heard you talk earlier about something about it being very stately, and I want to mention here that we also have a tribute based on the recent events. We have a tribute to the fallen officer.
Hmm.
Um, as well,
Newton?
that is also, pardon?
No, I mentioned his name. Go ahead. I'm with you.
Oh,
Yes, yeah. So we have a tribute to him, a special tribute to him in TGAT Orchestra, and I think that's going to be something very special and dear to them, as well as the family and extended family as well. So I mean, it's a lot that has gone into,
You're
a lot
right.
of thought, a lot of planning that has gone into it for sure, and the execution. I am most excited about. I'm kind of this person that if the event is happening 6 months from now, I want to plan it as though it's happening next
No,
week,
I got you. And that
just
makes
so that
sense.
any, you know, Murphy likes to try invite himself in spaces where he's not wanted. So we just kind of try to rule out a lot of anything that can go wrong.
Yes, I got you. And the good thing in the tribute is that, the fallen officer would have lived and died just a stone's throw away from this first event as well at Farley Hill.
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about delivery, though, to Sheila. I want to hear from you now about, because it's, heaven forbid, our fingers all crossed, that everybody is allowed to come out, and be a part of it in the physical space. Would it also be allowed on the virtual space for those who might not be able to access it, whether they're not Barbados or they just can't make it out?
So for this one, for sure, although we have some wiggle room now to attend events and so on, we're not going to do that for this one, just
Hmm.
because of the dynamics around it. And you would see why when we actually release it.
Exactly.
So
That's actually a huge surprise. So
yeah,
yeah.
you would see why when it's actually released. So this one is just going to be strictly virtual, and I'm hoping that when we finish this and we go into the other three, we would then be able to do in person. But in terms of delivery, it's because it's virtual, it's going to be largely online.
Hmm.
So what we are really working on right now is to build TV partnerships,
Mhm.
hint, hint, to be able to distribute and to carry it across, further than our networks can handle, and as well as to build partnerships with different influencers, different organizations, whether it's just corporate Barbados generally, to actually be able to air it on their platforms or send a YouTube link, whether it's a WhatsApp blast or email blast, or promoting the trailer that we would
Yes.
distribute a trailer before we actually air it. So even if it's circulating the trailer, but I want every single person to consume this
Yeah,
because it's going to be
yes.
so amazing.
The other thing that I've told Tashida based on what she's saying right now is that I would not encourage, while I do encourage you to watch it on whatever platform you can, when you can, like if you're watching it on your cell phone, put in a nice set of earplugs that you can get the
The
entire
best.
surround
Hmm.
fullness of
Yeah,
it because of what it is.
yeah,
You
it
can't
really is
just you
sensory
can't just listen
experience.
to it on a cell phone speakers, because you're not gonna get that fullness. You have to get this of it.
I got you, I got you. So the TGAT series launches soon. And for
Yes.
anyone anywhere in the world right now who's watching, who wants to know a little bit more about it, how can they access this information?
So they can follow us on Instagram, Facebook at Orange Mango Group,
Hmm.
or TGAT series on Instagram. They could also visit our website, orangemangoinc.com, and we could send any information there. We're going to have an email list set up as well to do a blast to anybody that wants to stay in contact, whether it's through sponsorship or to just really follow the series. Yeah, just everything is on our website, really,
Yes.
and you can hop from there into any of our other social media channels.
And stay
Fantastic.
tuned to CBC. Stay tuned to CBC for more information on TGAT series as well.
Right. All right, so it's
Hopefully we'll get a
orange,
call after this.
yeah, orangemangoinc.com. That's the website that you can go, and then
Yes.
you hop off into other areas and get to learn a whole lot more. It's upcoming, folks. We don't want to miss it. The gospel according to and ... thereafter. But TGAT series soon
Yes.
to come to a screen near you, and soon to come to an
Yes.
experience for you as well. So I want to thank you, calendars, Tashida and Kevin Calendar, husband and wife,
Thank you
Orange
very
Mango
much.
team,
Yes,
as we get
please.
ready for the
Orange Mango
TGAT
group.
series. Have yourselves a great
Thank
one.
you.
And all
Have
the
a great
best.
day.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Morning Barbados continues at 14 minutes after 7 after this.
Morning, morning.